Where are you? Yo, what's poppin'? All my peeps, it is I, your host with the most Renaissance man, who always thinks he can, and your champion of the peeps, Patty Pitt's back here in the Yard Streams for another edition of Pitts and Sarah's Wrestling Show, where we take no nights off. And you can't be taking no nights off without the best of the West. You can't forget about Sarah Marshall. What's popping, girl?
Hey, yo.
Hello. Stop.
Hello. It's so funny. Yates, what's going on?
Hey.
Are we happy to be here?
Oh, yeah.
I am so happy because
today is my Friday, baby.
Oh, geez. I still got 2 days left.
Yeah,
And
I feel like I never really have a day off, though, because I'll be writing tomorrow anyway when I'm not supposed to. But just don't tell my bosses. Don't let them see this.
Don't let them.
Because I've already been scolded. I got scolded on Monday when I was writing an article. And I'm like, well, otherwise I'm sitting here doing nothing. So I really just
enjoy yourself, girl. That's what you got. You got to learn to enjoy yourself and be with your, do what you want to do.
Yeah.
It's I had to learn it too. It's tough. It's so weird. You got to just figure out what you want to do. I mean, there's days where I want to sit here and watch, old pay-per-views or old wrestling stuff because, research. But, I get my friends to drag me out. We go out, maybe we end the night singing at a piano bar. And some nights we're passing out with a incorrect McDonald's order next to us. It's wherever the night takes you. And maybe that's not your vibe. Maybe you find something else. That's the thing. That's the beauty of doing what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And not having to work on your days off. I've been told that at my work, like, enjoy life. And it was a very important lesson that I learned there. So I want to pass it on to the peeps. That's my job. Yeah. Mr. Anderson, good day, mate.
Good day.
I don't know if you're from Australia. If you are, that's awesome. Dickie's here.
Hello?
I think it's gonna be I mean, there will be for the most part. I think I'm gonna just we'll have to see. What's up?
What up?
Your right hand man is here, Sarah. Wow. You got a soldier. Right here. Just ready to go.
Fine with me, because I get enough hate online.
You do.
I need some people to back me up. Hey,
Ashton
Ashton.
says, hey, what's up? And
hey,
it is Mr. Anderson with the dono. What's up, dude? Why do I think we will get an extra match? Grayson Waller effect will turn to Waller in theory versus Rollins and Rhodes.
I mean, I really wouldn't be surprised. I think it's the most likely scenario because Rock and Roman, from what I know, are for sure not in Australia. So it's not even like, they could come out and just be like, blah, 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 and talk their crap. I mean, I guess it could also be if Solo and Jimmy came out and did something, then that could be, because we know that Waller is a professional pot stirrer. So that could happen, but I wouldn't be mad about that because I'm sure the Australian crowd is going to want to see Waller in a match. So, and Rollins and Rhodes, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think we'll talk more about it, but my initial thoughts are that we will definitely be seeing some sort of fight or brawl happen, maybe
as
setting up
does.
As it always does. This is sports entertainment at the end of the day. Come on.
We know we're here for. Have a normal show segment, because it would be like asking Jerry Springer to like contain his guests. Like, you could never see an episode of Jerry Springer without something happening. This is basically the equivalent.
It's literally equivalent, but cinematic version, essentially. Um, so, you gotta wanna just hop into it. Like, I'm kinda feeling
Okay.
like, wait, we can't hop into it, Sarah, because you know
Leave it.
why
Leave it.
we don't wanna do it?
Wait, what?
What do you mean leave it? What?
Oh, I thought you saw something. Never mind.
Don't be a lemon, be a rosebud!
That's a very lemon response out of you. Alright, I just
Okay.
wanna throw that. That was very abrasive,
There's just
but I
something
didn't see it.
I I just don't
I'm
want
just
you to
gonna wait
change.
for you. I'm gonna wait
Okay.
for you to tell me it, while I get the banner up here, 'cause
Okay.
what the fuck?
That's what I didn't want you to change. That's what I was saying. I thought you were saying we couldn't get started because of what I changed it to. Do not change it. Do not change it.
No, of course not. I'm not that type of guy. Do you
Okay.
I don't fucking care. No, that's hilarious.
Daddy
No,
Patty.
I was so freaking like nervous. Like, oh my god, is there a comment or did I miss something? I was like,
Nope.
jeez.
Nope.
I guess we'll start with my rosebud of the week. It's not chamber. To stick with the down the middle, share both sides, and it's a time to talk about it. I think it's the Sting and Young Bucks. Okay, and here's why. Because at the beginning, when I was going through it, I'm like, all right, there's a reason. I'm not gonna get crazy about it. Like, I'm not gonna get my, whatever. And then I see the comments online, like, oh no, Sting chose the Young Bucks. There's a reason and whatnot. And I'm like, all right, boom, there it is. Like, as soon as I heard that, I don't care if it's real or fake. There's definitely some sort of truth to it, whatever. And then you see last night's segment of Sting holding the picture of them, the two young bucks, and then he literally announced that his dad passed away a week ago,
Mhm.
on air. Like, and he delivers one of the best promos I think I've seen Sting put on in quite a few years, probably since like Joker Sting in TNA, or if it was
Mhm.
Impact at that point. And it's my rosebud more important because it's my validation to just say, chill out. To everyone who just sees it, boom, fingers are faster than their mind. Like, that's where we have to relax and just let it play out. Like, it's not in this day and age, the companies know how savvy their fan base is now. They're well aware that whatever we see is not, closed off to them. So all they're doing, like, they know what they're doing at the end of the day. And if they don't, well, then you're going to hear about it because look what's happening at the chamber. A
Mhm.
pivot.
Mhm.
That's all I got to say about it. If you want
Alrighty.
to add anything, but
No,
yeah,
I have no.
that's just it. And Revolution's going to be sick because of it. All right. You go.
I don't know what my rosebud is. I feel like nothing really stood out that we haven't already talked about. So I was having a lot of problems trying to think of this because I was like, yeah, Raw was good. I'm excited for the chamber. Like I just don't really have anything that I don't think
No
that
NXT's getting y'all.
no, not really. I know that is for you, but um
NXT's getting good. Like the Brooks Jensen, Josh Briggs match was really good. You have Fallon Henley and Tia Hale starting something in the
who's your
locker
new
room.
favorite?
Okay, I have like bits as
Oh,
angels of just favorite women wrestlers.
no, that's not who I'm talking about.
Who
You literally texted me who your new favorite NXT star is. And you
is
said
it?
he was your rosebud this week.
I'm going to look back because there is a reason why. He is my rose. Oh, there it is. He's my rosebud. Sorry, Sarah. I'm stealing the spotlight. My rosebud, other than obviously being the AW guy, Obafemi is an absolute beast. All right. I don't know what we're doing. Like, this man is the closest thing we're going to have to a goddamn Marvel superhero. This man is so giant. And when he does entrance, they do the whoof, and then like whoof. And when he speaks, they like do it too. Instead of a what chant during the pause, they do like a whoof. and it's like that's an alpha, Sarah. That
What
is
I
an alpha.
what I think is insane about it too is like he's brand spanking new. You know, this isn't a guy that is coming from the indies. Like this isn't somebody that people already knew about. Isn't he like he's a performance center guy, right?
He's a performance center signee. Yeah.
And he's been on the show for like a month or something. Like he's not even been on that long, and he's that over. That just tells you he's got that vibe to him. For wrestling fans to jump on somebody that quickly, it's not easy to do, nor is it common. You know, like there's a reason why people don't succeed in professional wrestling, and it's because they can't get over. They can't get the crowd to care about them one way or the other. And this guy is just like living his life, not really doing anything extraordinary, you know, just like being a big dude and like a powerful dude winning a championship pretty much right away. But people are like drawn to him. So I feel like that's pretty cool because I'm seeing you're not the only person that I'm seeing talk about this. I think Humble Wrestling we've talked about. He's obsessed with him. And it's like there's so many other people who are too. So I feel like that's pretty cool for him, you know?
Oh, and the word aura gets
Mhm.
thrown around
It does.
so much now.
Especially with people who don't have it.
Who don't have it, you
Roman
know,
Reigns.
maybe I knew you were gonna say it. I was he has it. Obafemi has that aura. Like when he comes out, you're like, oh shit, this man is
Yeah.
about to just throw MFers around the ring and just like
Mhm.
it's nobody's business. I mean, look what he did to Dragon Lee. That poor luchador.
I know. I'm sad about Dragon Lee. He's been like gone. I was really
I
excited
love
when him on
Dragon Lee.
SmackDown and he's just like MIA. I'm like, what happened?
That I think that might be like a post Mania. All right, I'm
Me-
officially up.
Yeah.
Which, if that's the case, fine. There's no reason for Dragon Lee to be on my screen right now if he's not going to be in the grand finale of WrestleMania. Like
Mhm.
nothing against him.
No,
I'm
I
a
get.
fan of him, but yeah,
Yeah.
like there's no reason for it. So do you want to go to your rosebud? Do you have a rosebud? Do you know? You know what? We're gonna do some. We're gonna go to the peeps. They saw this.
Okay.
It's called Thinking on Your Feet. Dicky is gonna take place
Well,
of
that's
your
what I said.
rosebud.
I said Raw was great. I said that.
Lemon Shotzi injury, no new EC match added. That I agree with Shotzi's injury 100%.
I
That's
know, and it was such a freak thing. You know, it's just like she landed awkwardly. And it's not even like very obviously awkwardly. It's just the way her body. I mean, it's kind of like I broke a bone in my foot in 2017, I think, and all I was doing was like turning around like on my tippy toes, you know, like when you're on your toes and then you just like turn, you kind of just like spin on your
yeah.
heel or whatever. I was just doing that and then immediately just broke one of the bones in my feet. It's like I wasn't doing anything, you know, super
That's
active.
wild.
I wasn't doing anything dangerous. I wasn't doing anything risky. But I broke a bone in my foot, and I'm not comparing that to a torn ACL, but I'm just saying, like,
No,
she
but
literally wasn't
yes.
doing anything that you were like, oh yeah, that's going to lead to an injury. It just that it sucks. And it's
the nature of the
crazy
beast.
how common torn ACLs are becoming in wrestling.
Oh yeah.
That's the crazy part, I feel.
I think this is the most I've seen that have been
Yeah.
announced and whatnot. I mean, there's probably been multiple back in the Attitude Era and even Ruthless Aggression where the dirt sheets weren't so prevalent, or they
Mhm.
didn't tell you till after the fact in interviews and whatnot.
But this
So
is like 4 in WWE that I can think of in the last year.
yeah, Cora Jade.
Oh no, it's 5.
Cora Jade.
Cora,
Shotzi,
who?
Charlotte, Shotzi,
Yeah.
Charlotte,
Um Dakota and
Dakota.
Sonya.
I totally forgot about Sonya Deville.
And why is it all women?
That I have no answer.
That's crazy.
I don't
But
know.
yeah.
Holy shit, I totally forgot about the presser today.
Oh yeah,
It's
I
gonna be
think
at 11 o'clock. I better be asleep.
11 p.m. your time.
Yeah,
Okay,
like,
well, I could watch it because that would be 9 p.m. my time. I could probably try and put it on.
yeah, you could react and use our chat messages just a reaction board because I'm gonna be asleep and I
Yeah,
like
I will.
I like waking up to texts at 4 a.m. I don't like getting texts at 4 a.m. There's a difference.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it is all it's crazy. All right, so shout out to Dickie for taking place for Sarah's Rosebud, really stepping in there. But you definitely do have a lemon though, I'm assuming. You have to have a lemon.
Yep. Oh, jeez.
And so all right, let's start you there.
Well, this is kind of random, but it's applicable for people who are going to WrestleMania, and
WrestleMania.
that is this just like the absolute mess of the WWE World tickets going on sale this morning. It's just not. It just feels like they didn't do enough work to actually release the tickets and provide the right information that people need in order to purchase tickets. And in case you guys didn't know, they're essentially bringing back Access. That's what it seems like, and they're just repackaging it as WWE World or whatever. And so they were talking about tickets going on sale this morning, and they're working with Fanatics. So Fanatics are the ones that are selling the tickets, and they didn't put up any details until tickets went on sale. So you had no idea what you were looking at or how much things were going to be or like how many sessions there were going to be. And then you see that there's 5 sessions between the 4th and the 8th of April, but then you don't know what wrestlers are going to be there, what wrestlers are going to be VIP. You have no idea what day you should buy a ticket, and like there's just so much information that they don't provide that it's going to come at a later date, and it's just so disorganized. I mean, I understand that Access has been gone for, I don't know, a handful of years at this point, but when I was going to SummerSlam every year from 2010 to 2013, I bought tickets to Access every single year. And every single year, I knew days beforehand, okay, who are the VIP signings this year? It was, John Cena, Randy Orton, Rey Mysterio, The Miz, and Triple H. Okay, you saw what times they were, what day they were, and how much it was going to be. So you're like, okay, well, I need to buy a ticket for this. I need to buy my VIP to John Cena, and then I'm going to buy this. So you already knew that going into the day of ticket sales. This is like I'm sitting here not buying tickets because I'm like, I don't know when I want to go or why I'd want to go. I don't want to go to a session that literally has not a single wrestler that I care to meet. And there's really only one person I want to pay VIP for, but I don't know when he'll be there. It's just such a mess, and it's so dumb. It's so avoidable. Just get
It's
the
very
details
avoidable.
ironed out beforehand. Like, I don't understand.
Yeah, I didn't think about that because I'm just happy. Like I have the more innocent view on it because it's my first time and I'm just trying to be there and experience it. So I never thought of it, just like, oh, whatever, like looking at it, like, all right, cool, like you buy a ticket, boom. But from your perspective, it makes a lot of sense because there are people that say you do buy a ticket to a day and it's just no one you want to see. And then the next day you go do something that's completely the opposite and it's everyone you want to see. And you've been like,
Yeah.
I would have absolutely spent the even probably more money than I'll spend doing something else or that other thing that I would have there for these people because I really wanted to see them. So
Well,
and once you get that point
Well,
of
and
view, I
it's
get
because it's not cheap. It's $60 to go to a day, and then it's like
yeah.
another 30 if you want to go at night, and then it's every day, as I said, Thursday through Monday, and it's like, okay, but people are coming into town from all over the world, and they would like to be able to plan their days ahead of time. So I want to know, do I need to make sure that I'm free on Thursday? And what time do I need to be free on Thursday or Friday or Saturday? It's like, it's just not helpful when you have no idea. You're going into this blind. So I'm like, do I buy a ticket now? Are the tickets going to sell out? Like, what is this? It's just so ridiculous. It's like, it should have just been, okay, we're going to wait to put tickets on sale until you have everything figured out, and that way people will know beforehand.
Mhm.
But it's always like this with places that sell tickets, though. It's like it can never just be normal. It's just they have to make it as difficult as possible,
Of course they
and
do.
it's very annoying.
And I don't even know if they're trying to hide who's there to, build the suspense, but after what
No.
you said, that doesn't make sense.
No, it's basically just they don't have they haven't figured out exactly who is going to be there and when. That's what it is. They probably have an idea of who they want, but they just have to make sure, okay, this person can be here because the
Mhm.
VIPs, like you can't change that.
You
They're
can't change that, yeah.
because let's say they're talking about Thursday's access and from I forget what time it is, but let's say it's 10 to 7 or whatever it is. um they'll say, okay, from 10 to 2 there's going to be Alpha Academy and Street Profits and Bobby Lashley and so whoever. They're going to list a bunch of people and then usually they'll say and more after that, but it's subject to change. So you might go there to beat Alpha Academy and then they're going to be like, LOL, Alpha Academy's not here now, they're going to be here at 6, so it's like, but that's different because you're paying for general admission. It's like if you go to a
Mhm.
concert and you're paying for the standing room only
Yeah,
ticket.
you get what you get and you don't be
Yes.
upset.
So that's kind of how it is with the general admission access, but they can't do that with the VIP because people are specifically buying the VIP to meet
For
that
said
person.
yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
so I think that they're just having more difficulties like getting that figured out, but I feel like considering it's like 6 weeks before Mania, you would think you'd have it figured out by now, you
Yeah,
know?
6 weeks, it's getting really close.
Yes.
Um, so, yeah, interesting. I would have thought I don't think of that point of view.
This is why you needed a travel buddy like me
That's why I did.
to tell you all of this because like I've never been to Mania, but I'm familiar with
Well,
other
everybody needs
stuff,
a travel buddy. I don't
I
what
guess.
like,
Well,
what is
I'm kind of traveling by myself, but
well, I mean,
you're going to be an hour away.
I'm not an hour. Oh, I'm not. Oh, well, that more like 45 minutes.
Yeah,
But
but still.
found out my thing for that, so we're good. What's my lemon?
Theory.
Oh yeah, can we just stop calling wrestling fake to wrestlers? I don't care
Or
if you call it to.
just in general.
Well, in general, I mean I'm beggars can't be choosers. You know what I mean? That's kind of my thing. Like, of course, in a perfect world, I'd love that where to be stopped, but people suck. So can we just limit, like, can we not say to wrestlers, like, you know what's going to happen? And even if he said it in Austin Theory or whatever his real name is, uh, whatever way he was reacting, do you really want that reaction? Like, do you want to go through it? You know what's going to happen. You know the
Mhm.
same response going to happen. So why are we pushing the buttons? And the journalists who do it, they literally my thinking because I've been around said journalists who are like that. Um, they live in their own little bubble. Like it's all about them, and it's all about the story, and it's all about that whatever. And that's just when it comes to wrestling, that's not it. It's not that, and you could end up in a very iffy situation. So just stop it. Like
Yeah,
you're making
no,
yourself look bad.
well, and of course, like when we were talking about it before we started recording, I definitely think it's a skit or whatever.
Kayfabe, not dead.
Similar to what they did with Grayson Waller when Grayson also threatened to kick someone's butt and whatever for saying some stuff like that too, and he defended the company and defended wrestling. So I think this is just another instance of that. And of course, it works well because it's been trending like all day. It went viral and I've seen even people on my timeline who maybe they were wrestling fans when they were younger or something and they're not anymore, but they're seeing it too and they're reacting to it. So it's definitely getting out there. People are seeing it. And I don't know if it's just to build more hype or what, but I mean, it's getting people to like Theory. So I don't know if that's their goal too, because I feel like that's kind of going against what they want with Theory because they want people to hate him. But I'm like, he's getting points from people who didn't care about him before this. So I don't know. That's kind of working against what you were trying. But I do think a lot of the time too, like if this were more real, because I don't think it was, I've noticed that a lot of the time, we've seen this in football, for instance, where they won't send a sports reporter to do the press conference, right? It's like what we saw in the playoffs where they were talking to the team that was, or to the Bucks, and having to play the Lions, and they were like, well, how are you going to deal with the snow and playing in the snow and whatever? And it's like, okay, this is clearly someone who's not a sports journalist,
don't
because they have
watch,
no
yeah.
idea that Detroit plays in a dome, right? And so it feels like that happens a lot too when it comes to wrestling, is they're just having normal basic journalists or news anchors interviewing them who have no prior knowledge about wrestling, and so they ask these silly questions, or they'll say these sly comments, not realizing that it is offensive or that they look ridiculous. This feels like that could be that if this were more real. But I feel like that's definitely an issue when it comes to wrestling, is that just there's not enough people that are actually interviewing or discussing the topic, that know what they're talking about, you know?
Yeah, they don't. And I've been around it. And it's, you get the weird questions that it's like, oh, yeah, or no, of course, like the easy ones you can shut down, but to them it's like really fascinating, all that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just I deal with it every day. I'm slowly getting my work peeps onto it. One guy I work with is like open to it. He's very like big into entertainment and movies and stuff, so he's really into it, like me talking about it. So that's the guy person we're trying to be. Okay,
Mm.
be like that, or you if you're not interested, fake it till you make it,
Yeah.
because the
Well,
person
and
that you care
it's
about.
a really good time to try and get someone into wrestling too. Whereas if you were trying like 10 years ago, they would maybe turn it on and be like, absolutely not. But now it's, there's not a lot of stuff that you could say it's like cringy, or that you would be embarrassed about,
Oh yeah,
someone
no.
seeing you watch that and be like, what are you watching?
Yeah. I have friends now that they're actually asking me like, "Oh wait, I saw this on so what's going on here?" Like
Mm,
they're asking about The Rock, they're asking about this like Cody Rhodes, like who is it, didn't his dad wrestle or something like that? Like they're interested in NXT. They're like, "All right, I saw this big dude in Oba Femi." And they're like,
mhm,
"That dude should be in the NFL." It's like, yeah, like this is every week. There are guys like this every week. There are women like this every week where
mm,
it's like, "Oh my god, she can do it." It's like, "Yes." Like
yeah.
Whatever, like Roxanne Perez. I'm trying to think of
Ooh,
just Tiffany Stratton. Like I can name a bunch, but the point is that like these just wrestlers now, they're doing cool shit, and people see them on Twitter. I mean, for God's sakes, when that dude Joaquin Wild, when they
mhm,
catapulted him,
mhm.
I had 5 people send that to me, and we're like, "How is this real?" And I'm like, "Watch,
Yeah.
you'll
Mhm.
find now. You know why I find this shit so entertaining."
Yeah, I agree.
Alright, well, we're gonna see some entertaining shit this weekend in the land down under, because it's prediction time. It is time for us to predict the Elimination Chamber. And Sarah, I think Mr. Anderson said this before, that it's gonna be pretty swift. I think it's a swift agreement with us.
It also just makes me wonder if they want us to feel like that, but it's not going to be, you know? And I think part of that is my pessimistic brain, because I feel like how this will turn out is how, like, we think it's predictable, and the results we think are going to happen are what I would want to happen. And so I'm just a little bit
Mhm.
nervous that because of that, that it's not going to be what happens.
Now,
But
you go with results. So when you say that, I hear wins or losses. To me, I think the results, they are fine with you being able to predict it. All right, like, all
yeah,
right,
I
he's
guess
gonna win.
it depends on
It's like,
how they get there.
how do you want, like, they want you to be intrigued on how they're gonna get there and what is a ripple effect for afterwards.
And I think
Just to throw, yeah.
that's a fair argument too, I think, because I think people complain a lot about predictability, and we've talked about it before, obviously, through other pay-per-views or even just a Raw or a SmackDown, something like that. Is predictability is not always bad, especially if it makes sense. It's like, okay, yeah, you knew this was coming, but why are you mad about it? You're only mad because you knew it was coming. Like, to me, I think that's ridiculous. But I also think that yeah, the way they get to the predictable finish or whatever I think that does change your mind. Like, yeah, okay, maybe you thought for 3 weeks that this person was going to win and they did everything to convince you that that was what going to happen, but you didn't see it being that way. You didn't see him winning like that. And so I think that does make it like a little bit less frustrating for people who get frustrated about it being predictable, if that makes any
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, I can see that. Um, let me see where. Well, we have this comment
Okay.
from David Valentine. What do you think about
Or
wow what
Valentine.
Valentine? Whatever. All right, I've been whatever.
Welcome,
It's
David, by
promotion
the way.
that it's a promotion that's sliding under the radar that nobody talks about. That's Women of Wrestling.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's run. I think it's run by Maria Kanellis.
I don't even know. There's just like there's so much stuff that changes like where people are. I can't keep up anymore. Where people are, who's running things, who's involved here, who's not. I can't. But um I think I don't even know why, because wasn't there a Netflix show or a series on WoW, and that
That's
was
Glow.
Glow. Okay, but it's basically like women's
It was the
is
80s. It was the
okay.
80s. It was the first ever
Yeah.
inception of like
I think
women doing
that
wrestling.
I honestly would not be surprised if part of it is because it is not something that's like on television. You know, it's not something that's broadcast nationally or I think part of it too is like it's not talked about. As you said, it goes under the radar. And so because of that, it does hinder people from viewing it or even knowing about it. And then not trying to pull the woman card, but I do think that's part of it. I think it's similar to, you know, the reason why people don't watch the WNBA. It's because it's all women and it doesn't get as much promotion or as much love and attention as the NBA does. And I think it's similar to like an entire wrestling company that's all women. I think that's partially the issue, unfortunately. Hopefully that's the kind of thing that changes. And I feel like we're definitely at a point where it should be changed, because look at where like let's look at just WWE's women's wrestling right now. Like, there has it ever been better? So I mean, that's just the direction that women's wrestling is going. So I would like to believe it's just a matter of time where a promotion like WoW will get more love and attention and whatnot. But I honestly don't know. I think it should, but
I think it should too. It's predictable because matchups have been telegraphed on screen. Becky Rhea interactions, awesome truth story with JD, Drew being the only Raw guy in the match, and no one wanting Nia as champion. Yeah,
and
like
I think part of it too is that we need to take into that people are forgetting, if they're complaining about this, at least for Elimination Chamber, is think about the context. This is the last pay-per-view before Mania. They want some of it to be predictable. They want to tease the probable Mania matchups because they want you to tune in. They want you to go. They want people to be excited about WrestleMania. They don't want to leave it until 2 weeks before. Okay, this is this match and this match and this match, and that's what's going to be at WrestleMania. No, they want you to know weeks or months beforehand, this is the direction we're probably going in, because they want you to go. They want you to watch. And so I
yes.
think, you know, I can understand, I guess, a little bit more of the issue with predictability if we're talking about a random show, you know, like in June or something that has nothing to do with a build up to Mania or I mean, that's still pretty early even for a build up to SummerSlam. But yeah, I think it's like, yeah, no one wants to see Nia as champion. That's fine. And the other things, I feel like, yeah, people aren't going to be too mad as long as the matches are good, and the matches are stacked from what you can see. So there's no reason for any of them to be bad.
Oh, these are gonna be very good matches. Like that's the thing. They're predictable outcomes, but I'm very excited for the matches because they're filled with stars, and
Mm-hmm.
they wanted to do that because they're in Perth, Australia, first PLE that we've
Mm-hmm.
seen in I think live. This is the first live show in Australia because they did a show years
Yes.
back, but it was taped. I watched
Mm-hmm.
highlights of that on YouTube. It was actually, and that's the thing too. That was a really good card too.
Yeah.
It was like a triple threat for the title to end to main event with like Rock, Triple H, and Brock Lesnar or something like insane. All right. So first prediction. Nah, you know what? No, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait for mommy. We'll let her main event our show too. Okay, we'll let her main event our show. Let's talk about these gentlemen. All right, we got the men's chamber match. whoever wins will be going on to face Seth freaking Rollins at WrestleMania
it's
40.
Bobby Lashley, Drew McIntyre, LA Knight,
Yeah.
Randy Orton, Kevin Owens, and Logan Paul.
Like, come on.
Richard made a good point, which I think I've mentioned, but I don't remember if I did, that Drew is the only Raw guy. The other ones are SmackDown guys, which is kind of crazy. But I do feel like, and I've been saying this I feel at months at this point, that Drew is the only one who makes sense to face Seth Rollins at WrestleMania, especially now that Punk is out. I said it even before Punk was out. I said that no, Drew makes more sense than Punk versus Seth. And not even just because I'm biased, right? It's just because the story is there, and the whole story between Seth and Punk would just be trying to build up, the drama, the tension between them. And they could have done it, obviously, and people would have been checked in, and I would have been like, okay, go Seth. But I do think it has to be Drew. And that will be a banger match at Mania. I feel like that's a great opportunity for Drew. Great match for Seth. A great match for Seth to lose. Because there's a lot of great outcomes that will come from a Drew McIntyre win at Mania and leaving as champion. There's far too many storylines and feuds that can come out of that like you can't pass that up. And no disrespect to Seth, but there's really nothing there for Seth right now.
Yeah, he needs to heal up. He absolutely needs to heal up. I'm not gonna repeat what you said essentially because I agree.
But I have more. I have more.
Oh.
I think other things are going to come from the Elimination Chamber. I feel like, I'm predicting that Drew wins, but I feel like other feuds are going to come from this because don't forget, there's been lots of rumors of Logan Paul and LA Knight facing off against each other at WrestleMania. So I think there's going to be some sort of interaction there, whether, maybe LA Knight eliminates Logan Paul eliminates him. Maybe we see Logan get the brass knuckles because apparently that's going to be his thing. So I think there's going to be a setup there. And this is the only place that makes sense for that to happen because they haven't had any interactions for months, for this to be like, yeah, okay, LA Knight versus Logan Paul makes sense. So something has to happen between them. And then as far as the other guys go, I honestly have no idea. Like, I don't know the plan for, Randy or Kevin Owens. Like, I have no idea. But yeah.
Randy and KO could fight at Mania. Why not? I've seen
they're both baby faces, but
yeah,
I have no idea.
I like this question. That's a good question.
Who gets eliminated first? Oh, wait, Bobby Lashley. Did I say Bobby Lashley?
Yeah.
Okay,
you started with him.
Oh, okay. I'm like, for some reason I was thinking, yeah. It's so hard because this match is stacked. So it's like, you really can't be like, okay, the outlier is whoever. I mean, for the most part, you would say Logan Paul is the outlier because he's not the jacked, gigantic dude. He's not the long-term wrestling guy. I don't think that's going to happen. I think that's what they want you to think because he's going to feel like it. But then there's the question too, not even just who gets eliminated first. When do they get eliminated first? When is the first elimination? Is it once everybody's in the match? Is it before everybody is out of the pods? Like, I feel like it's going to be once everybody's out of the pods.
Unless they're pinning.
Yeah, unless they really want to try to make someone look dominant, then they're going to get him to like eliminate somebody before that.
Yeah, that's true.
But that depends because it's not like they really have to do that with any of them. Like Drew doesn't get more valid if he like eliminates somebody early. You know what I mean?
You don't need to put anyone over that much in this match. I'm going KO.
I almost am like, I honestly don't know.
I feel KO gets knocked out by Logan, like this, and then that's Logan's elimination.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's like LA Knight is first. Like if they really want to hammer home that feud with Logan Paul, Logan eliminates LA Knight first.
Brass knucks first, boom. Then he goes to hit KO.
Because LA Knight is not going to be switched to Raw. Like he's not going to
No.
like as much as you want to see him as a champion, that he's not going to win this match because they're not going to want to put him on Raw and to go against Seth Rollins. You're not going to have your two of your top baby faces go against each other at WrestleMania. That's not happening. This isn't an instance where they could overlook that for a Seth Rollins versus
No.
CM Punk. It's not the
Yeah,
same.
that's different.
So I don't want LA Knight to be the first guy to be eliminated, but if it's like a half hour into the match or something, I don't really see the problem there. And if it's going to lead to a feud between Logan and LA Knight for LA Knight to eventually win the US title, then fine.
Yeah, I'm for it. Do you think they'll have Priest cash in when Drew wins?
I
Is
really
this at
hope not.
Mania?
Yes.
Or is like
yeah, Pat thinks so. I really don't want it to happen because I would hate for Drew. The only reason is because I would hate for Drew to win the title after complaining that he didn't get to win it in front of people and have like a championship reign in front of people, for him to finally get that moment and then 2 minutes later it's taken from him.
That's what
But
Judgment Day does, baby. That's
I
what
know.
Judgment
So
Day
that's the
does.
thing is like as far as like long-term storytelling and like an instant feud, I mean, it makes sense, I guess. And at this point, they have to figure out what they're doing with Damian because there's only 4 months until Money in the Bank. Like he has to, and that's 4 months now. That's not, come April. So, I mean, if that's what it is, then that's what it is. Because I guess Drew at least still gets his moment. But it would also make me a little nervous to think that might mean Drew's leaving because he hasn't re-signed yet. Like that would make me nervous if they take the title off him. That means like, oh yeah, we gave you your moment. Now bye.
No, I feel like that would hammer home that he's there because then it'd be his quest to go get it. Priest doesn't need it long.
What about could you see him failing?
No, don't do a failed cash in.
Well, that's what they were saying this whole time.
Yeah, they said the women's would be a failed cash in, and now Io Sky is gonna main event
I
night
know.
one of WrestleMania with Bayley. So like
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to take everything with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty predictable. We both got Drew. Let's start here. Let's just we're already talking about Judgment Day. Talking about predictability. I don't think we need to spend too much time on this. I could say you know what? I'll say for predictions and for the contrast, I'll predict British Strong Style, but you need to make Judgment Day strong before Mania, and then it's we have no one else to beat. We have no one else, and then you have everyone well, you have guys on SmackDown and all this, and you can build it up where it's a ladder match. So I'm for that.
Yeah.
That's really all I have to say.
I think it's going to be Judgment Day. It's just kind of similar to it's not the same, obviously, but I feel it's similar to all of those people that were trying to say Jey Uso was supposed to win the title over Gunther on Monday. Exactly. I just feel like it's not the right time to take the titles off Judgment Day. And nothing against British Strong Style, but they've only been a team for a month at this point, and they're not over enough for people to care if they beat Judgment Day. I think that it needs to be a different team to dethrone Judgment Day for people to really be excited about it. So I think it has to be Judgment Day. I think they have to hold the titles till Mania, and then they probably lose at Mania. That's my guess.
That's my guess too. Yeah, I want to say more, but that's about it.
Yeah.
That's about it. Told you they said it before. You know what? No, let's talk about this because I think we have a little bit of decent things to say about it. Because the Grayson Waller effect is coming to Perth. He will be in front of his home country, hosting the Grayson Waller effect with Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins, which to me seems like they're just gonna build up a potential tag match.
Yeah, I think it'll probably turn into something that night, but then I think we'll also see Cody fully embrace Seth being on his side. We could even see other people join alongside him or something, but I do think we'll finally see these former foes become friends and fight for the same purpose, and that's taking down the bloodline and ending the horrific reign of Roman. So
Mhm.
that's the only thing that makes any sense. And it'll be interesting though, because these are guys that the crowd is gonna love, all three. So it's gonna be like a different dynamic than what I think we've typically seen thus far with Grayson Waller effect, which I think makes it a little bit more interesting.
It makes it a little bit more of a reason to not tune out of this segment. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it could be them challenging Roman and Rock at Mania or Night One or whatever. It could be just Jimmy and Solo
Yeah.
coming out to defend them,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's like, well, if you want them, you have to go through us or something.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot. Austin Theory could even come out. I saw that in the comments. Like,
Mm-hmm.
there's just a lot that could happen that I would rather sit back and watch rather than trying to nitpick it. Because that, like, with this, you know it's going to be good.
Yeah.
You know Grayson Waller is an all-time pot stirrer. Like, the dude just knows how to stir the pot.
Mm-hmm.
So, I want to see that. I want to see more heel stuff there. And would it be interesting if, like, an Australian celebrity came out or something, too? I don't know.
I
Now I'm
also
getting
think
thirsty.
that putting Cody and Seth in a match would, or well, maybe Seth can't wrestle yet. That's the problem.
That's the other thing. You can't run. He's
I
too
mean,
to
at
what?
least the only thing I was gonna say is putting them in a match, or at least one of them in a match, would make their trip to Australia more worth it. Otherwise, they're like, I flew all the way here just to be on the Grayson Waller effect. Like,
Means
but
it's the best talk show in the world.
I guess, but yeah, I don't know if Seth can actually wrestle. That's the thing. I thought that they were trying to hold him off until Mania. So
I think Seth does what Seth wants at this point,
I know, but
which
I don't know if I would risk it this close to Mania.
I agree. That's why you have him with Grayson Waller,
Yeah.
he ain't gonna touch him.
Yeah.
It'd be more of an issue with like Solo or something.
Yeah.
Like actually, like you do that, maybe injures him. Oh, maybe he does like injure. You know what I mean? That'd be pretty interesting. Yeah, let's talk about some women.
All right.
We'll start with the women's chamber match.
Rhea, not Rhea's gonna win. Becky is gonna win.
It's Becky.
Yeah, it has to be Becky. I don't
I don't
really
want to
have.
even be a contrarian. I don't even want to be a contrarian and say Liv.
No, I mean I understand why. I mean she would be like the runner up probably, but I mean I don't think people are really invested in her story right now because she has only been back for a couple weeks. So it's like people haven't been excited to see that as much as they've been teasing the Becky versus Rhea. People want to see that at this point. So, and it's hard to imagine them being in March and needing to figure out where Becky fits on the Mania card. That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense to me. So,
and you don't have Becky and Rhea come out and cut that little promo at the kickoff in Vegas just to have Becky Lynch get pinned by Liv Morgan or even Tiff.
yeah.
Like, it's not Tiffy time, it's Becky time.
No. I agree.
Yeah,
the man will be on top.
Yeah, the man will be. That's nope, we did that one. We got to talk about Mommy and Nia Jax. Hold on, I got to go to this comment because I want to put this up before we talk about it because it was a really good one. Nia Jax versus Rhea Ripley should be a last woman standing. I couldn't agree more.
That would
I
actually
couldn't agree
be
more
good.
with that.
I feel like that would be the easiest way to get Nia out of demanding a rematch. You know what I mean? Like you can't really be like, "Oh, I deserve another opportunity in a last woman standing match," you know? Like I mean,
No,
I feel like that's a completely different result than just a typical standard pinning. You know, it's like you literally couldn't get up and fight anymore. I think your job is done. You don't deserve a rematch.
you do not deserve a rematch.
Yeah. I feel like that wouldn't be a bad thing, and I think they can still do that because it would be something, that could hype up the crowd even more because they could just make it a stipulation the day of, like during the show, they could do that if they wanted, and I think that would be fine. I'm sure they would both be down, and it would make people want to pay attention to a Nia Jax match a little bit
That's
more.
true. I really get annoyed with Nia Jax matches.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not the biggest fan.
Yeah.
But I do like her heel work now, so I think she's a good
Yeah.
opponent for Rhea. This match is going to be good. I think this is going to be a good match. You'd be a lunatic if you think anything other than Rhea Ripley walking out of Perth, Australia
Yeah.
without that championship. Like, there's just
And
no
it's
way.
not even because they're in Australia. It's like she was going to
Not a
win.
chance.
It's just because she was going to win no matter what. So
Yeah. It's just not happening. It's
yeah.
because then you're gonna have Nia Jax versus Becky Lynch. Not a shot. And if we want to play into some theories, okay. Nia went out strong on the go home
Yep.
show.
Yep.
So if you want to
Mhm.
follow the buzzards and see that.
Yep.
Oh, this is interesting though.
Hmm.
I think Rhea will lose at WrestleMania. And Sarah. He said Sarah. I
Um,
agree. I'm okay with it.
that's so hard to say because I feel like Becky is another one kind of similar to Bianca where she's had quite her fair share of mania moments and Rhea hasn't. So I guess it really depends on what they're trying to do. Like, are you trying to give Rhea her moment because then she would have been champion for a year at that point because she won it last Mania? Or are you trying to take the title off her because are you trying to disband Judgment Day? Like, what are we doing? Because I don't think Becky needs to win at Mania necessarily. Obviously, I love her, so I'm not going to be mad.
Yeah.
But
I don't-
I honestly don't have a feeling about that yet. I don't like I'm so focused on Elimination Chamber and just knowing what the matches are going to be at Mania. Like I'm not even thinking about the results. Like the only one I'm thinking about is Cody Roman. That's the only one I've actually like given
That
thought to.
result needs to happen.
Or
It's
Seth and Drew. Those are the only two.
Yeah,
So
I would
I
agree
honestly
with
have
that.
no
I just
idea. I can't you know what? I'm saying I didn't think anything of it. Bailey Io also thought about that one. But otherwise, the other ones I haven't.
Oh, I'm gung ho on one winner and one winner only.
Oh, Bailey. I know.
Yeah,
So that's what I'm saying. Like I said, I hadn't given much thought to any of the matches. I was just saying, no, it's a lie. I've thought about 3 of them. But the other ones, I'm like, whatever they might be, I have no idea. Like I've not thought about it. So
haven't either. Have not really either. Okay, and we did our predictions, so that means it's time for the 1, 2, 3 count. Starting off with 1. All right, we asked and you answered last week on which chamber match we should watch.
oh, I
And it
forgot.
was
I
I
totally
watched it.
forgot. Okay, I
I
forgot.
watched it but fell asleep. Okay.
Okay, I totally
The champ
forgot.
has been busy. Okay, we worked at the end of our 2 weeks before whatever. I will have worked 13 out of 15 days, so we're kind of tired. So I threw it
Yeah.
on last night to soothe me to sleep and one forgot about Chris Masters and
Oh,
how they pushed him a little bit and then how him and Carlito were a weird bedfellow of tag team.
that was another instance of Vince just trying to push the big guy.
That's it.
That's it, because there was
100%.
no personality there.
No,
Absolutely none.
none at all. And other than Kurt Angle being a goddamn suplex machine in that match, and I mean a little tease to Perk Angle,
Mm,
Perk Kurt, whatever his
Hurt
nickname was
Kurt,
then.
yeah.
Jeez, that was another. But you see the banner because it was the one when Edge cashes in the Money in the Bank, and a lot of people say that it is the number 1. I would disagree though.
I think I mean, I understand why people like it. I think part of it is a nostalgia factor. I think part of it is because he was the first one to ever
Mhm.
cash in. But I would argue like Seth Rollins was better. Dolph Ziggler's was pretty great too. But yeah, I would say those are probably the top 3 is what I would say. And it seems like it just depends on who you ask where they put those 3.
I would agree because I put Seth 1, Dolph 2, Edge 3, and then if you're doing a top 5, 4 or 5's got to be. Where is it? Someone. I just saw it. No, there it is, Dickie. Ambrose's cash in. Like that was unbelievable. And going back to predictability, it was all about the execution of it that made it so good.
Mm-hmm.
That puts it in the top 5. But no, the 3 that are goated
Yeah.
are Edge, Ziggler, Rollins,
Mm-hmm.
and put those 3 interchangeable, and I think you have a happy wrestling fan.
Yep.
I think we kind of already talked about it a little bit, because we're talking about Money in the Bank. Thought why not 2, be Damian, because how long is he gonna be Senior Money in the Bank? Like what do we like? I want to see some shit happen.
I really wouldn't be surprised if it is like Mania. I feel it's so hard because Mania is such a big stage. So if you're going to have a cash in, then it has to make sense, I guess, at Mania, because you can do it at any other time. Obviously, I do think that at this point, because he's held it for so long, and they had a whole storyline of tension between him and Finn because of it, they have to make it feel big. It has to be a huge moment. It can't just be him cashing in on a random Raw, unless it was like the Raw after Mania. Like just because
Cool.
the Raw after Mania is treated almost like a night 3 of Mania. So I feel like, yeah, I really would not be surprised if it's Mania weekend, because I mean after that it's like okay, where else? And like I don't know, and that would be such a huge reaction,
It would.
because no one would really be expecting it, or not necessarily be happy about it either, depending on who he was cashing in on and if he was successful or not. So
I agree with that. Oh, that would be awesome. Oh, that would
maybe.
be aw that is the only acceptable way he can fail the
This is why I
casting.
told you I thought that Truth was going to interfere to make sure Dominic didn't win the Elimination Chamber thing. So I really wouldn't be surprised if he does that. Like he comes out because he's all excited and wants to support Damien. But it's hard because that's what we're saying right now. Mania is still 6-ish weeks away. So I don't know how that storyline is still going to go, but it's possible. I mean, I also wonder, how much longer do they want to have, R-Truth versus Judgment Day? So
Yeah, it would have been a little bit of time. And then 3 to wrap it off. Oh, hello. Call it for Bell. I saw his tweet, and let's end the show with a positive note. Bobby Roode has been out with an injury for a long time. I think it's been so long, it was before we even did the show. So he's back, medically cleared.
well,
However,
he's been a producer.
I'm getting there, Sarah.
Oh.
However, he likes his job as a producer and what he has been doing with, all that backstage. So he's comfortable in that role. And you know what? Happy for you. I'm really happy for him, because it takes a lot of maturity and to be able to know when to step back. My only thing I will add is I was talking to my good pal Bergie, who I go to the Limitless Wrestling shows with. Shout out BRG here. And he sent it to me, or I sent to him, tomato potato. And he said that likes it. When he comes back, it has to be for a Royal Rumble, because could you imagine how
Glorious.
glorious that
Mhm.
pop would be?
No, I won't give in. I won't give in till I'm victorious. I know that is severely underrated theme.
Such an
Um,
underrated theme.
I'm happy for him, because obviously it's not like he was at a point in his career where he was even considering hanging things up, because, they also, him and Dolph had just had that NXT run to kind of like rebrand themselves sort of. And so he had like all momentum on his side, and then this injury happens, and so I'm glad that he's enjoying it, and I completely understand why he would be a little bit hesitant to get back in, because it's a neck injury, right? Like
Yeah.
neck or back he's dealing with.
Neck.
So I don't blame him for being a little bit like, I don't know, because the same thing with like Big E, like Big E. I think he can be cleared, or he already is, but he's still, just like he said, I'm trying to decide what the best situation is for me and my life and my health.
Yeah.
And it might be a situation where he decides like, yeah, I've been cleared, I can get back in the ring, but I don't want to risk it. And it might be the same thing with Bobby Roode. And unfortunately, he is a guy with a good mind for wrestling and is able to immediately just transition into being a producer. So I mean, it's good because, when you think of even like Corey Graves, when he was told you can't wrestle anymore, he wasn't exactly thrilled to have to sit behind the desk and be a commentator. But now, obviously, I think he's cleared. I think he can wrestle, also. But he's like thriving. Look at him now. He's the main guy on SmackDown. So it's like it's just good to see that they're able to still kind of live out their dream, just in a different way.
Exactly. Because sometimes it takes a pivot. Sometimes you got to go in a different direction, and you end up being in a better role in that position than you would be if you were, wrestling or whatnot. So I'm very
Mhm.
happy for him, and we need more producers like that backstage who, worked everywhere,
Mhm.
and got
Yeah.
that TNA experience. TNA low key runs wrestling right now. The old TNA from like early 2000s low key runs wrestling right now. They're everywhere. Jeremy Borash works for WWE. I didn't know that till like
I heard
recently.
about that, yeah. Well,
Him,
it's like
Petey
an
Williams,
abyss.
Abyss, Bobby Roode,
Mhm.
Beer, Money. I love that tag team.
I always love seeing Davari. That's the one that always makes me LOL. I don't know why, but it's just like, for a guy that was never used properly, it's just funny that he's now been a producer forever. Or it's like Hurricane,
Greg
Shane Helms,
Helms.
or yeah, Shane Helms,
Shane
Greg
Helms.
Helms. Yeah, it's like that to me is funny too, because it's like, who would have thought this guy pretending to be a superhero was ever going to be a
It's like
producer?
a fantastic mind for this
And that's the
art.
thing.
Yeah,
It's like, who would have thought that with Tyson Kidd? It's like these guys. It's never a Randy Orton, John
no,
Cena type. And it's like, and that's the thing. It just shows you how passionate these people are. They were just never, I don't know, for the most part, were never the top guy, or they were severely underrated, but they have great mind for the business. So it works out in the end.
does everything always works out? Everything always works out. And thank you, guys. Thank you for tuning in to this edition of Fits and Sarah's Wrestling Show, the Elimination Chamber predictions. The show is, WWE's tweet out the times, but it'll be live East Coast. Who would have thought HBK would be a head writer? I would have never. I wouldn't have thought that.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. DX and TNA run wrestling.
Also,
That's incredible.
Seth versus Drew night 1, main event, or Bailey versus Io?
Bailey versus Io.
I think it has to be Bailey Io.
It has to be.
Yeah, I think that both have the potential to be a main event, but I feel like there's a lot more history between the Bailey and Io thing, and they're like drawing huge viewership numbers on SmackDown. So,
Huge
and come on,
numbers.
we want to give the ladies a chance of main eventing. You know what I mean? And I feel like Bailey is at
Why
this
not?
point where everyone talks about, I keep saying this word, but everyone talks about how underrated Bailey is. I mean, Shelton Benjamin was just talking about it again this week.
Okay.
And it's like, how better of a way to show your gratitude to somebody by allowing her to main event WrestleMania? That's pretty cool.
Pretty damn cool. Sarah, it's pretty damn cool. I can't wait.
I spit in the
for it.
face of people who don't want to be cool.
Another underrated theme. Thank you for tuning in, all the peeps here who tuned into our predictions. Elimination Chamber, 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and in Arizona and Mountain Time, I think you're on, Sarah. It'll be 2 or 3
3.
a.m.
Mm-hmm.
and West Coast is too. So either take a nap and drink a Red Bull, or go to bed early and wake your ass up. Which I'm not going to. I'll be at work. Okay. I get up at 4.
I'll be asleep. So
We got to sling the fish before we can get on camera and talk about the wrestling. So, doesn't mean we're not going to go live though. We
yeah, I
will be
already
going
scheduled the
live.
show. I scheduled
6,
it.
right? At 6?
Yeah. Yep.
Beautiful.
Mhm.
So, I'll be watching that as soon as I get home. And I am so excited. Oh, I'm excited. Not really. Okay, whatever. Doesn't matter. So join us on Saturday for our reactions, live reactions, or our version of live reactions to the show. And in the meantime, go hit that subscribe button, bell notification to know when we go live.
We just hit
And
1,600 subs, guys.
guys,
We're growing.
growing. Be part of the growth. Tell your friends, tell the rest of the peeps that you know and love to hit that subscribe button and bell notification. All right, to know when we go live and post, cutting up all these live streams into clips just for you, just for the peeps. And then also, to know when we go live, to know our thoughts when we're not in the artist streams, go follow all our social media channels. All right, they're in the links in the description below. And until next time, until Saturday, when we talk about the land down under, God bless. Remember that you can do it. All you can do is try. Yes.